What's up, everybody? Just wanted to make an intro to the intro just so you guys know exactly what I'm going to be covering in this video. So this is what we've created. It's a 3D Lego character that can be rotated in 3D space. The head, we're going to be able to eventually make it so it's rigged and can turn in any direction you want. And then there's going to be smart bone actions that control the legs, arms, and waist, and even the hands. So I can actually spin my character in any direction, and then I can go into the bone layer and make the character in the timeline. So I can make the character actually kick, and I've rigged the leg a little bit so you can actually tilt it a little bit left and right like that, and have him kick sideways and things like that. So yeah, just a little quick intro. It's just because I know the video's long. I think it's like half an hour or something like that, but it's kind of easy, maybe. I don't know. Just check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon. Hey, what's up, everybody? So today's going to be part 2 of the Lego character creator, and actually this is going to be a redo. Just because the head turn thing that I made last video doesn't quite work right when it's moved in different positions, so I am going to start over. But this time we're going to build the whole body. And I'm going to start by importing an image that I found online. It's just a blank picture of a Lego character. I'm going to go ahead and use this tool right here called image masking, and just click on the white on the outside just to make it see-through. So I'm going to start off by just drawing the body shapes. And we'll start with the first part being the body. I'll hit S, or I'll come up here and select the rectangle tool. And I'm going to have the fill be red. And, we're just going to draw the shape here. And let's turn off the stroke for a second. I don't think we need it, so we'll draw across here. Then I'm going to hit T and grab the points from the top of the square, and then just hit A and add some points. So we're adding a point here, here, then on the corner of the shoulders, and then I'm going to hit C and curve those out. And I'm not trying to make it too uniform, I'm just wanting to get the body built. We can always fix this later. Now what we're going to do to make this 3D is we're going to double click the layer, select 3D options, then select none, and then go to extrude. And this is just going to pull that shape apart. If I hit extrude and apply, and then hit OK. If I use the XY rotation tool, you can see if I turn this, now we've got this block for the body, and it's in 3D. So we have sides and a top and everything like that. So that's how we're going to create a lot of the body parts. And I'm going to leave the thickness at 0.1250 right here. And we'll go ahead and create a new vector. We'll call this waist. And now I'm going to select a blue color. I'll hit S, and since we have the rectangle tool selected already, we should be able to start drawing, and we'll just draw across the waist. And the waist of a Lego character kind of goes down in the center. So I'll hit A, add a new point, hit A and drag this point down to the bottom, hit A, just making the outline of this waist, and then hit A, add another point, and then the bottom one I'll curve out, Command C, and then just left click and drag to the right, and now we have our waist. And we'll double click that and do the same exact thing we did before. 3D options, 3D conversion, extrude, and apply, and it'll have the same 0.1250 for the thickness. So if we spin that around, you can see again that's what we wanted. We'll reset that real quick, And let's go ahead and make the head real quick. And we're going to use a different 3D method for the head. So I'll type in head. And now this time, what we're going to do is I'm going to hit A. So this is add points. And we're going to draw half of the head. And let me go back to the body real quick and make that a little even, horizontal wise. So in the head layer, I'm going to start in the center. And I'm going to hit A. I'm going to left click and drag from the bottom of the neck over to here, and then up, and then to the corner, bottom corner of the head, and here, and straight up, and then to the corner of the head up here. And those corners are just, I'm putting those points in there so I can round it off. So again, if I come up closer, put a point right there, and then at the top, and we'll go ahead and curve those points out here in just a second. Over here, one in the corner, one to the side, down, into the corner, down to the bottom of the neck. Or actually, I went too far. Actually, Command Z, let's go back. We're only doing half because we're going to use a technique called lathe. So we're going to go to the center of the top of the head, right there. And that's all we actually need. We didn't need to draw the entire shape. So now what I'm going to do is hit U. I'm selecting that line, and you can see it's highlighted red. And we're going to change the stroke instead of the fill. So I'll hold down Shift, select yellow, and then I'll hit create shape. So we have this yellow stroke going around the head. And now we're going to do the 3D conversion. Double click the layer, 3D options, and we'll choose lathe this time and hit apply. And that makes the shape of the head. Now, let's go ahead and make sure the centers are lined up. So I'm going to click on the top point of the head in the center. I'm going to make sure the X coordinate is 0. And same for the bottom. I'll click on that and type in 0, just so it's lined up correctly. And the way that lathing works is it's creating a circle, or it's rotating around the center, around the X point of 0. So if I were to move these points farther away, you can see that it's circling around this center point right here. So that's why we're keeping it in the center, and that's why our character is being created in the center as well. Let's go back, and let me double click on the head. I'm just going to take off this shading, so I'm going to click 3D options. I'm going to turn off materials and then change the shading to none and hit apply, just so it's a solid color. I think I'm going to do that with the waist and the body too. So double click the layer, go to 3D options, take off materials, and take off the shading. Turn that to none and apply. Now let's create a group layer, just because I want to keep checking my character as I'm making it and spinning him all at once. So I'm going to create a new bone layer. We'll just call this Lego guy. And we'll left click and drag that to the top. And I'll grab the head, hold shift down, then select the body, and that will select all of our layers. Left click and drag up into the bone layer. And now when we have the bone layer selected, we can go ahead and use the XY rotation to actually turn the entire thing. So we can look and see that from the side view, our Lego character is looking pretty good so far. And we can spin it in all directions. And I'll just reset the view. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the legs, but the legs are a little bit different. So I'm going to use another picture that I found online. I'll import image. And this is another picture of just kind of how a Lego character is made. This is a front view and a side view. So I'm going to drag that to the bottom real quick. And what I want to do is I just want to resize this so it's about roughly the same size as our character. So let me use that masking tool again, just so I can see through it. Transform layer, and I'm trying to match up. Let's turn off our 3D layers for a second. I just want to match up this front view with the original one that we were using. And that looks pretty close. Bottom of the feet are right there. Top is a little bit smaller, so we'll grab that. And that looks pretty good. So we're doing this for the size comparison because we just need this leg. So now I'm gonna go ahead, move it kind of in the center just so I can kind of place it correctly. And we'll go ahead and create a new layer. We'll call this left leg. We'll drag it into the bone layer. Put it under the body. And now I'm going to, let's turn on the waist for a second. I want to get the, oh, the color's already selected. It's already blue. So left leg, let's hit S. Make sure that the rectangle tool is selected. And I'll go ahead and start drawing. Bottom of the heel, and we'll just drag all the way across to the foot. Then I'll hit A to add a point here. And then I can just click and drag on the line to go up the leg, front of the leg. Here's the back of the leg. And then we'll just create a couple points because we know that the top of the leg is round. So we'll just go ahead and move those. I'll hit C, curve a couple of those out, try and get them in position so they look decent. And there we go, there's half the leg, or one leg. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the body and the waist. We'll go ahead and double click the layer, 3D options, extrude, and then we'll turn off materials and turn off shading and apply. So now we've got the leg, but it's turned sideways, so we need to go ahead and rotate that. And the stroke is yellow because we made the head with that stroke color. So let's go ahead and hit Q first and select the leg, and it'll turn checkered. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it in the yellow. And go ahead and, with the stroke, let's go ahead and hit Shift, hold Shift down and select black. I'll just turn it black right there. And then we're going to go ahead and rotate this leg. So we'll use the XY rotation tool, hold Shift and Option, and then left click and drag to the left. And that's going to spin it forward. See that? And holding Option and Shift makes it snap in 45-degree angles and keeps it from moving up and down. So now we have that turned. Let's go ahead and turn that reference picture off for a second. And here's our clean background picture of our Lego character. But we also need to move this over to the side. So to move this leg to the side to where it needs to be, we need to click on the Transform Layer tool. And then we need to change the, I believe it's the X position, X coordinates. So you see that? I clicked in it, and I'm using my mouse wheel. You can also type, but I'm just clicking into the value and then just moving my mouse over to right about there. And the leg's a little bit thinner than it should be. I mean, just looking at the picture. So we can make that a little thicker by hitting Q and, oops, let's hit Q. And it's really hard to see, but I'm actually selecting the color itself right in the center. You see that there? It's just hard to see because I've turned the leg, but once it's selected, you'll see a little bit of checkered color right there. And we can change the thickness over here. So if I click in there and use my mouse wheel, I can actually expand the leg. And we're gonna do, let's do 0.1253, like that. And then let's move it over a little bit more. So let's click on the transform layer, and let's see, negative 0.17 is where I have it right now. So it's pretty much in the right place it needs to be. And let's turn our other pieces on. Let's look at him from the side. So let's click on the bone layer, XY rotate, and the leg is pretty much in the right place. We might want to slide it back a little bit. So while he's turned, we can go ahead and select the left leg and then transform layer. Then we can move the Y rotation, or Z rotation actually, and just snap that back a little bit so it's at negative 0.025. You can just eyeball it, but I'm just seeing that the first time I click it goes there, so that looks good. We'll go back to the bone layer itself and reset the view. So to make the other layer, all we have to do is hit left leg, duplicate, call it right leg, and then we'll go ahead and do transform layer, and we want to move it over, so we'll click in the X coordinate and just use our mouse wheel and scroll that over to the side, and that looks pretty good right there. Let's double check, click on the bone layer, XY rotate. There we go. We've got the head, body, waist, and feet done. And let's go ahead and reset that for a second. Now the hands are going to be kind of hard just because we don't have a lot of options as far as 3D tools go. But I'm going to turn off all the 3D layers for a second. I'll create a new vector layer. I'm going to call this upper left arm and drag it into the bone layer. And what we're going to do is hit A, and we're going to start from the center. You can see here's the center, or point of origin, and we're just going to draw from the center. We'll go over a little bit, create kind of a half of a shoulder, and then down, and then over to the center again. Actually, let me go ahead and do a Command G and just turn the grid on, and so we can line up these points really fast. So we'll drag that there and drag these points here. We'll leave that one for the corner of the shoulder. I'll hit Command G to turn it off. I'll curve it out, and we're going to do exactly what we did with the head, which is lathe. So I'll go ahead and select the red color for the stroke by holding Shift down, selecting red, then hit U, select the stroke, and create shape. And we need to have stroke selected. So now that just makes a red line like that, and we're going to double click that layer, 3D options, 3D conversion, lathe, and hit OK. Oh, let's turn off materials and shading too, and apply. And now we have the top part of the arm. The reason we did that right in the center is because if I drew these points away from the center, you can see it just make a really big kind of ring or cone. So we're just trying to make kind of a cylinder. Let's hit G. I'm actually going to grab these bottom points and drag them down a little bit. So this is going to be the shoulder and all the way to the elbow. So we need to keep this like that, but now we want to move this arm over. Actually, let's go ahead and make the bottom part of the arm too. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this layer, duplicate the upper arm, and we'll call this lower left arm. Just delete that too, hit return. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit T, select the arm, whoops, and grab the center, and I'm just going to move it down to the elbow joint right there. So we have two parts of the arm, so we'll try and rig this so we can bend the arm too. And then we're also, let's go ahead and create another vector and call this hand. And this hand's going to be pretty crappy. But it'll work for building the character for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and select yellow, then hit Shift and select black for the stroke, I'm just going to draw a really simple hand, and I'll go ahead and turn the stroke on for this. So I'm drawing a square at the bottom of the arm. I'm going to hit A. I'm going to go ahead and just add some points. And all I'm doing is making that simple kind of claw shape for the character. Let's go ahead and add some more points. And we don't need to get it perfect now. We're just getting that kind of basic shape, I think. Just so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And then we'll go ahead and with the hand layer selected, we'll double click it, 3D conversion, and this will extrude and apply. And it's so small and there's so few points that it just makes it look a little bit more squared off than it should. So I'm just adding points to make sure that it's got some detail to it. The wrist isn't circular, and we can go back and fix that later, but for now I just wanted to kind of get the claw shape of the hand. But you also notice if I rotate it, it's way too thick. So let's go ahead and rotate this just so you can see how this works. We'll go ahead and hit Q and select the shape. And the shape is actually right in the center. It's extruding from the back and the front. So when I select it, it highlights kind of in the middle. Then we'll select thickness, and then we'll go ahead and just use our mouse wheel and shrink that down to a decent size. I'll use XY rotate to check it again. That's still pretty thick. We'll keep scrolling till it's right about there. That looks okay. I'll reset the view so it's facing forward. And maybe, oops, use the transform layer and move it up a little bit so it's in the arm. And we want to keep our arm and everything together, so let's go ahead and create a new bone layer. And grab the hand, hold shift down and select the lower and upper arm. Drag all those together. And we'll just name that left arm. Just so they're all together, and then we can move those together. So now that they're in a group, I can actually grab the group and move it to where I want it to be. So I can move it over here. I can change the point of origin up to the top of the shoulder, hit T, or hit transform, and then just turn the arm some. That arm is really skinny. Let's go ahead, let's make that thicker. So let's go to the upper arm, and I'm gonna hit G. Well, all I'm doing is I'm grabbing the points on the side, and I'm just pulling them out to make the arm thicker. And I'm gonna move these points a little bit. Let's add some more just so we can see that curve on the top of the shoulder better. Then we'll do the same with the lower arm. I'm gonna hit G, grab these points, move them over. Move this point down. Add another point again just to curve this. The reason I'm keeping the top curved for the bottom part of the arm is because if we're gonna bend it, I think we're gonna need this kind of curve. But we'll see. I'm not sure. I haven't actually made it yet. So, and let's go ahead and extend the bottom of the arm down too. So I'm grabbing the bottom points and just moving those down. And then we'll grab the left arm group, transform layer. Let's spin that out. That's still too short. Okay. Go back into the lower arm. Let's just move this bad boy down. I'm going to select it, hold shift, and then just drag it down to about here. Upper arm. Grab the bottom points and drag those down so it's covering. And then the hand will just move down. Hit T, select it, and just put it right about there. Select the group, arm, and rotate it. That's a little bit better. You can actually just grab it, kind of put it in position. It's close enough. So let's turn on all our other 3D parts. The left arm has all of its parts, so we just need to make the right arm. We'll just duplicate that and call it right arm. And we can rename lower left arm. Let's just rename it left to right. Same with the upper arm. Rename that right. And then let's go ahead and, while we have the group selected, again, make sure you have the whole group selected. We'll spin it and move it over to the right side. Kind of put that in place. So I have the right arm, left arm, and then we have, and those are inside of the main group layer called Lego guy. And then we have the other 3D parts, the head, waist, body, and the legs. So let's grab the Lego guy and spin him around and see what he looks like. And the arms are already in the right place, which is great. Yeah, everything looks pretty good so far. So I think I'm going to end this video because I know it's pretty long. But I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing in the next video, which is rigging it. And I'll go ahead by starting off and rigging a leg just so you can see how this is going to work. So let's reset the view. I'm going to turn off the reference picture. So in order for the legs to move, we're going to have to use a little bit of unconventional animation using the smart bones. So I'm going to go to frame 0, we'll go to the bone layer, and I'm going to create an action. I'll go ahead and create a new bone, hitting A and drawing a bone and saying hit B, select strength. Let's go ahead and turn that down, left click and drag to the left so there's no strength on it. Hit B again. Let's call this left leg side to side. And I'm going to go ahead and just highlight what I just wrote, and I'm going to copy it, Command C, just so we know that we're typing it exactly the same way to make a smart bone action. And also let's go ahead and turn on the labels so we can see what we're doing. Show label left side to side. So on the bone layer, let's go ahead and go to Window, Actions, Smart Bones. We'll create a new smart bone action, and we'll just hit Command V to paste. And we have left leg side to side, so it's named correctly. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And if you did it correctly, the timeline will turn blue. And let's just go to frame 12. Move your indicator to 12, and then we'll hit T, and I'm going to select the center of the bone and hold shift down after I start moving it to the right. So it's pointing all the way to the right. And then we want the left leg to move to the right as well. So click left leg, and now we need to use the XY rotation. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hold shift and option down, and I'm going to drag downward. And you see how it spins to the right? That's what we want. And we'll go ahead and spin it all the way to the right and let go and double click back into the timeline. But part of the problem is the point of origin is way up here. So let's go ahead and turn our character for a second. Go back to the Lego guy and spin him around using XY rotation. And you can see the point of origin is way up here. And we need it to be down by the base of the leg. So, oops. Okay, let's spin him. Select leg. And see it's way up here in the body? We want it to be down here where it's going to pivot. So let's go ahead and select the point of origin, and we'll just click down here. Right about there. Let's make the X origin 0. Oops. I'm trying to get it right. Close to the center as I can. Actually, we're gonna let's just leave it at 0.0222. And then let's go ahead and rotate our character back. Remember, you always have to be on the group layer. And rotate him back, just reset it. And moving that origin kind of moved our leg in a little bit. So let's go ahead and select left leg, transform layer, and then use the Is it Z? Nope. The X, and move that back over into place. So now, let's go ahead and check. Let's go ahead and select Lego guy and then go into the timeline, hit T. Let's turn that. So now the leg is turning, it's pivoting way down here. See that? It's pivoting right about here, which is good. But I think I might have to move it a little bit more. We need to adjust that. But let's go ahead and make another smart bone action so we can see how we're going to control this leg. So I'm going to hit B, select nothing, just the canvas, and we'll go ahead and hit A and create a new bone layer, or smart bone action on the bone layer. So let's go ahead and draw this to the side. I'll draw that to the side, turn the bone strength down, left click, drag to the left, hit B. We'll call this left leg front to back. We'll go ahead and select that, what we just typed, Command C to copy, and under smart bone actions, we'll go ahead and do a new action and paste, Command V. That way we don't have to retype. Hit OK, and select 12, or go indicate to the 12th keyframe, or frame I mean. And so we want this first action will have the leg go forward. So we'll hit T, hold shift and select the center of the bone, rotate it upward. And to rotate it forward, we're going to use transform layer tool instead. So we'll click on that, and under angle, let's just type in 90. Oops. For the leg, remember to select the leg. That was the entire body. Left leg, 90. Now he kicks forward, so you can see this. When we rotate that leg, his leg will move forward. We'll double click into the main timeline. Now we want it to go back. Oh, let's turn on, with that bone selected, let's go ahead and turn on the label and stuff too, so we can see that. Maybe move it so we got a better view. So we already made the forward motion. Let's make the backward motion. We'll select the bone layer, new smart bone action, Command V to paste. Now we're making the second part of the bone action, rotating the other way. So we need to put space 2 and hit OK. We'll go to frame 12, hit T, rotate the bone to go straight down, and then select the leg layer, left leg, and transform layer. And this time we're going to type in -90, -90, return. Now the leg's rotating backwards. We'll double click back into the timeline. And with our Lego guy selected, the very top layer that has all the parts in there, we can go ahead and rotate him. So you can see that. And then if I hit T and try the smart bone action, in the timeline, if you're on 0 it won't work. But you can see the leg swings forward and back. And then we also have a tilt from left to right. Actually, right now I only have it going inward. I didn't do the outward. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll just leave our character turned. Go to 0 on smart bones. Let's go ahead and new layer. Left leg, space, side to side. And if I typed it correctly, should turn blue. Oh, we need to do space 2. Space 2, because we're going the other way. There we go. Go to frame 12, hit T. Let's rotate it to the left this time. Looks a little funny because we have the whole layer rotated, but it's all the way to the left. And then with the left leg selected, we'll use the XY rotation. Hold Shift Option and left click, drag up. And it rotates outward like that. And double click back into the timeline. And we now have actions for our leg. So if I rotate our character in any position, it is a little bit of a hassle because the bones rotate too. but you still can control them and grab them. So again, we can move the in the timeline in any position. Let's rotate our character, you know, facing away. And if I grab the bone, I can make the character kick forward and back. And we can move the leg to spin left or right from that pivot point. I am going to have to fix that a little bit, but you can see it works pretty good. And again, this can be done in any position in 3D. So yeah, we can have our character kick. So again, the next video is going to be about we'll rig the rest of the character. We'll rig the waist and the head so the head can turn. We'll be able to redo the head as opposed to what I did the first time. But we can come in here and we're going to be able to grab the head. Oh, I'm going to have to change. Let's reset the view real quick. So with the head, the point of origin's down in the body right now, but if I put it at the base of the head right here, we're going to be able to grab it and turn it and move it in any position. Actually, let me show you real quick. Let's go ahead. I'm going to create a group layer. Call this head parts. This might need to be a bone layer too, but I'm going to throw the head in there. Let's do vector. I'm just going to type in face real quick, and I'm going to just really quick draw a really simple face. So I'll select black. Let's go ahead and draw some eyes. So I'll draw an eye. A little reflection. Hit A, add a couple points to make a line. Hit U and select that. Hit create shape. So we got the eyebrow. Move that. Hit G, grab both the eye and the eyebrow, copy paste, Command C, Command V, flip, move that over, and then I'll do S and use the circle or ellipse tool, and just really quick draw a smile. Oops. So here's our face, but since we made this all 3D, if I turn this, check this out. The face is in the center, it's floating in the middle of the head, like that. So we need to actually, let's go ahead and turn our character sideways. I'm going to select the head part, or not the head part, it's just the face. And I'm going to select transform layer, use Z, and push that forward. And it's actually going to float a little bit outside of the head, just so we can see it. And then I'll select Lego guy. Let's go ahead and reset the view. Let's move the face down a little bit. Change the point of origin. So now, if I grab the character XY and turn him, now there is a little bit of a problem with the face floating off the head, but we need to have that so when we're moving, when we're turning, we can have that 3D look. And let me double click this, depth sort layers by depth and true distance, so apply. So when we do turn our character and he's not facing us, his face will, or should, actually disappear. I might have to make it, oh, I have to do that on the head parts group. Let's do depth sort there. There we go. So now when we turn our character, his face will always be on his head correctly. And then I think, like I said, I'm making this up as I go along. Head parts, I need to lower his head too. And let me double check and make sure that I can do this. Head parts. Yeah, then we'll be able to move the head around independently as well. So we can do this, turn him sideways, and we can turn the body. And yeah, we'll be able to do all kinds of stuff, I think. So like I said, I'm making it up as I go. But if you guys have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. I think this will turn out pretty good. I don't know, a lot of times I'd make stuff and it doesn't work at all, but I think this is going to be pretty neat. But yeah, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.